I'm not a slave. I don't work for you. With some people, I just want to punch them in the face sometimes.
This is the countdown of unforgettable undercover boss moments. Today we're focusing on the top 10 most intense, crazy, and heartbreaking situations that have ever been uncovered on the show.
I can take you outside and beat you up, right?
These are the moments when CEOs came face to face with realities they never anticipated. Moments that expose deep pain, dangerous conditions, and life-altering challenges in the lives of their employees. You won't believe what happened to the last 3 bosses appearing in this list. Number 10, fired for image. Bikinis, sports bar, and grill. Doug Guller, CEO of the company, went undercover to assess his business, but things took a hard turn when he fired an employee, not because of her work performance, but because of her physical appearance. Guller had strict image standards for his staff, particularly female employees, as the company prided itself on being a restaurant. Guller's decision to fire this employee on the spot due to her not fitting the look he wanted was abrupt and harsh.
So does bartenders don't have to wear bikinis?
You are supposed to be wearing a bikini. I just chose not to since we're on TV.
She was a hardworking staff member who was surprised and humiliated by the sudden termination. Viewers found the firing unsettling, especially considering her dedication and the effort she put into her job. This controversial decision quickly drew backlash.
I'm sorry, Jessica. It's not working out. Today's your last day.
Feeling Guller had taken his power too far and that his standards were unfair and demeaning. This unsettling moment highlighted some of the uncomfortable and sometimes downright unethical standards found in certain industries, leaving many viewers feeling disgusted and frustrated. It was a stark reminder of the challenges some employees face, especially when judged on appearance rather than merit. Number 9, living in a homeless shelter. Modell's sporting goods.
When I turned 25, I ended up being pregnant. And I was a manager at a restaurant. And then I got too far along, I couldn't work there anymore. And ever since then, it's just like times have been really, really rough.
One of the most heartbreaking moments from Modell's sporting goods. By the way, I like to pet my dog while he is asleep. CEO Mitchell Modell went undercover, looking to see what his employees' lives were really like, and he was shocked by what he found. During his time undercover, he met Angel, a devoted and hardworking employee who took every shift she could to make ends meet. Her dedication was remarkable, but what he learned about her life off the clock was absolutely crushing. Angel revealed that despite her hard work and extra shifts, she was living in a homeless shelter with her children. She explained that her pay simply wasn't enough to afford housing, even though she worked full-time. Her story exposed the challenges that countless people face, especially in minimum wage jobs, where even working more than 40 hours a week isn't always enough to provide for a stable home.
Things are gonna get better. You're gonna be fine.
This episode was a stark wake-up call for Modell and for viewers. It highlighted the deep economic struggles faced by many Americans who are working as hard as they can, yet still struggling to keep a roof over their heads. Angel's story was a powerful reminder that even full-time work can leave people on the brink, and it forced Modell to consider the impact of wages on his employees' lives. Number 8. Hazardous working conditions. True Value Hardware. Next up at number 8, we have an episode that brought attention to safety, or rather the lack of it. John Hartman, CEO of True Value Hardware, went undercover to see how his employees were handling day-to-day operations in his stores. What he found, though, wasn't just a typical day at work. He was met with a series of shocking safety oversights. Employees were using dangerous tools and heavy equipment without proper training, and there were almost no safety guidelines in place. The lack of protective gear, training, and routine safety checks left Hartman genuinely worried. He learned that one employee had even suffered a near-fatal accident on the job because the company hadn't enforced proper safety protocols. Another employee admitted that he had nearly lost a finger due to outdated and faulty machinery. This realization hit Hartman hard as it exposed a serious issue in his stores, one that could have fatal consequences if not addressed. The scene showed how easy it is for companies to overlook basic safety measures, especially when they're focused on cutting costs or speeding up processes. For viewers, it was a frightening reminder that not all workplaces prioritize safety, even in industries where accidents can be deadly. Number 7. The Burden of Grief. Alfred Angelo Bridal. Coming in at number 7 is an emotional episode that revealed how deeply personal struggles can impact work life. Paul Quintel, CEO of Alfred Angelo Bridal, went undercover and met Dorothy, a longtime bridal dress consultant who was well loved by her customers.
Lee does have a lot to learn before he's ready to work here.
Dorothy was warm, caring, and invested in every bride's experience, always going the extra mile to ensure their happiness. As they worked together, Dorothy shared her story with Paul, and what she revealed was incredibly heartbreaking. Dorothy explained that she had recently lost her young daughter to a devastating illness. The loss was still fresh, and she was struggling to carry on without her. Her grief was overwhelming, but every day she pushed through her pain to show up at work and help brides on one of the most important days of their lives. Paul was deeply moved, visibly struggling to keep his composure as he listened to Dorothy's story. Her resilience in the face of unimaginable loss was a powerful reminder of the emotional strength so many people must summon just to make it through the workday. This moment reminded viewers that behind every employee is a story, often filled with challenges and heartbreak that they carry with them daily.
I am the guy here. I make it happen over here. There's a technique to everything I do, all right?
Number 6, blunt criticism. Johnny Rockets. At number 6, we have a memorable moment that turned awkward quickly. Johnny Rockets CEO John Fuller went undercover to observe his restaurant staff and see if there were any improvements to be made. But what he didn't expect was to be on the receiving end of some brutal, unfiltered criticism. While working with one of his employees, Fuller found himself face to face with an outspoken worker who didn't hold back. Completely unaware he was talking to his CEO, the employee criticized the company's policies, saying management didn't understand what it was like to be on the front lines.
We're like, come on. Yeah, and then you get people that, had a couple of drinks and they want to dance with it.
He even went so far as to insult Fuller himself, calling him clueless and saying he had no understanding of the real issues. This tense exchange was a reality check for Fuller, who realized just how disconnected he was from the experience of his employees. The raw honesty of the criticism showed how different things can look from the perspective of the people actually doing the work. It was a humbling experience for Fuller and served as a reminder that CEOs need to stay connected to what's happening on the ground. Number 5. Food safety fail. Subway sliding in at number 5.
My objective is to break you, because if I can break you, I don't need you. You have to be as good or better than me.
Is a moment that left viewers cringing. Don Furtman, Subway's chief development officer, went undercover to inspect his franchise stores and make sure they were operating at Subway's standards. What he found, however, was shocking and deeply unsettling. During one of his shifts, he witnessed multiple health code violations that left him and viewers concerned about food safety. Employees were not wearing gloves while handling food. Sandwiches were being prepared on unclean surfaces, and there was a blatant disregard for sanitation. At one location, he even saw an employee handle raw and cooked food without washing their hands in between. This episode was a disturbing look at the health risks that can arise from poor oversight and inadequate training. The CEO's reaction made it clear that he was horrified by what he saw, and the scene served as a harsh reminder that food safety should never be compromised. For viewers, it was a sobering look at how some franchise locations operate and a call for better standards across the board. I love tomato soup. Number 4. The boss gets fired by an employee. GSI Commerce. At number 4 is a shocking twist from Undercover Boss that left viewers stunned. Michael Rubin, the CEO of GSI Commerce, went undercover to understand his company from the ground up.
I'm stepping down as the CEO of GSI Commerce for next week. Not in total.
Instead of bonding with his employees, Rubin came across as out of touch and overly demanding, showing little empathy for the challenges his team faced daily. After the episode aired, both viewers and employees were vocal about his abrasive management style. "What's wrong with you, daddy?" The backlash was so intense that GSI Commerce's board of directors took action. In a rare turn of events, one of Rubin's own employees was actually the one to deliver the news that he was fired.
Between the issues with the boxes and your numbers, we no longer need your services.
This was the first time in the history of Undercover Boss that an employee fired his own boss. Rubin's appearance on Undercover Boss ultimately exposed his own shortcomings and led to his dismissal, making it one of the only times in the show's history where the boss was held accountable by those he led. Number 3. Reformed but struggling. Philly Pretzel Factory. Next at number 3 is a moment that highlights the challenges faced by those with a criminal past. Philly Pretzel Factory CEO Dan Dizio went undercover to see how his company was running.
My mom would be... My own the embarrassment, not to help that woman.
And in the process, he met Chris, an employee who shared a powerful story of redemption and hardship. Chris explained that he had been incarcerated for years due to his involvement in violent crime, but now he was focused on rebuilding his life. Despite the stigma and challenges that came with his past, he was determined to stay on a better path and prove he could be a valuable member of society. Chris's story showed the difficult journey of reintegration and the constant battle many former inmates face in seeking acceptance. Dizio was visibly moved by Chris's honesty and commitment to change, but the story also left viewers with a sense of the struggles faced by people trying to escape their past mistakes. Chris's journey was a reminder of how hard it can be for those with a criminal record to find stable work and the incredible resilience needed to keep going. Number 2. Unseen Isolation, yet 7-Eleven. Coming in at number 2, we have one of the loneliest stories ever shown on Undercover Boss, 7-Eleven. CEO Joe DePinto went undercover to observe his employees and quickly met Igor, a night shift worker who had been with the company for years. Igor was a reliable employee who took pride in his work, but as they got to know each other, he revealed a side of his life that was hidden beneath the surface. Igor shared that he was an immigrant who had come to the United States alone and had no family nearby. His isolation was compounded by working nights, leaving him with almost no social interaction. He explained that he spent most of his time at work and felt like he was drifting through life without any real support or connection. Joe was taken aback by Igor's quiet loneliness, and it was clear that this isolation had a profound effect on Igor's life. The scene was deeply moving, shedding light on the emotional struggles faced by those who feel truly alone. Igor's story resonated with viewers, serving as a reminder that behind every worker is a personal life filled with hopes, struggles, and sometimes immense loneliness. Number 1. Assault in the Kitchen, Boston Market.
Children and old people are literally the worst I've ever seen in my entire life because none of them know what they want and they're like literally can't talk. So you just kind of have to deal with it.
We have a telling moment from Undercover Boss featuring Boston Market. CEO Anthony Waito went undercover to see how his restaurants were operating, but was shocked to discover an employee being rude to customers. While working at the front counter, Waito witnessed the employee dismissing customer complaints and responding with sarcasm when a patron expressed dissatisfaction with their order. This lack of professionalism not only hurt the customer experience, but also tarnished the Boston Market brand.
I'm like the Kim Kardashian of Boston Market.
When Waito revealed his identity, he confronted the employee about their behavior, stressing the importance of excellent customer service. This moment highlighted the need for better training and accountability among staff, reminding everyone that every employee plays a vital role in representing the company positively.
So go home and
That's it? That's all?